much. You've been a big part of our success. A lot of the principles from the Go Giver that we got from your book is really helped us go in the right direction and really thinking of others and helping others with their networking.
Greg, I appreciate that. Thanks for having me on the call.
This is a great opportunity for us, and I'd like to start off and talk to you about, the Go Giver, the original book, the main character Joe. He was frustrated, and he was described as a go-getter. And I always thought that being a go-getter was a good thing. Are you saying that being a go-getter is a bad thing?
Oh, that's a great question. No. We're asked that question a lot. It really is a good question because he was described as a frustrated go-getter, which I'll get to in a moment. But really, we love go-getters. John David Mann, my awesome co-author of the book, we love go-getters because go-getters get things done. They take action. And as you know, because you've been a very successful business person for a long time, you know that you can have the best ideas, the best intent, but unless action gets put into the mix, absolutely nothing's going to happen. It can't happen. So we love go-getters. The neat thing is there's no natural division between a go-getter and a go-giver. Many go-getters are also go-givers, and every go-giver is also a go-getter. The opposite of a go-giver is actually a go-taker. That person who feels almost entitled, if you will, to take without having added value to the person, to the process, to the situation. And we all know people like that, and they can be good people, but they tend to be very frustrated by the fact that as hard as they work, they tend to not reach the kind of level of success they feel they deserve. And even those rare times they do, it's typically short-lived. And yet they kind of look at everybody else as being naive. Now, in the book, again, Joe was described as a frustrated go-getter, but he wasn't frustrated because he was a go-getter. He was frustrated because he was really a go-taker. If you recall, early in the book, everything was about Joe. It was I, me. Right. And really the premise of the book, the premise of the go-giver, is simply that shifting one's focus from getting to giving. In this case, when we say giving, we mean constantly and consistently providing value to people's lives, and that not only is it a nice way to live life, it's a very financially profitable way as well. Well, once Joe met the main mentor, Pindar, and met some of the other mentors and learned the various laws and took action and put them together, he saw that he did that shift in focus, and things really turned around in his life. And that's what so many people find, that when you can go from that I orientation or me focus to being other focused, we attract other good people into our lives, and we really come across in that way that people take to, and we become the type of person that people want to do business with.
Well, you know what? That really, you relieved me there, because I've been called a go-getter before, and I certainly want to be the biggest go-giver I can be. So that's a relief to a lot of us, and that makes total sense. You talk about the five laws of stratospheric success. Could you kind of go over an overview of each one, Bob? And first one, I'd really, like to get a little depth on what your thoughts are on what is the law of value and what does that mean?
Sure. The laws themselves, the five laws, are the laws of value, compensation, influence, authenticity, and receptivity. The first one is the law of value. And the law of value simply says that your true worth is determined by how much more you give in value than you take in payment. Now, this sounds a little counterintuitive, almost counterproductive. I mean, think about it. How do I give more in value than I take in payment and stay in business? How do I survive, never mind thrive? I mean, it kind of sounds like one of those nicey nice things that people say, but, in the real world, it'd be a recipe for bankruptcy. So how do we give more in value than we take in payment and make this work for everyone involved? And for this, Greg, we simply need to understand the difference between price and value. Price is a dollar amount. It's a dollar figure. It's fixed. It's finite. Value, on the other hand, is the relative worth or desirability of a thing to the end user. In other words, what is it about this thing, this product, service, concept, idea, that brings with it so much worth, so much value, that people will exchange, they'll willingly exchange their money for it and be just ecstatic that they did, while you, the seller, the business person, makes a very, very healthy profit. And let me give you, if I may, just a very quick example that I think makes it a little bit clearer. Let's say you were to hire an accountant to do your tax returns.
Yeah.
And this accountant charges you, just a round figure, $2,000. That's his fee or his price, $2,000. But he saves you well over $6,000. He saves you 25 to 30 hours of time that you don't have to do it yourself. He provides you with the security and peace of mind of knowing it was done correctly. So first off, we see right here that value can be concrete, as in the $6,000 that he saved you. It can be somewhat conceptual in terms of the hours that you're saved, but it can be very conceptual in terms of the feeling of peace of mind. And yet, how important is that? You know, as the old Visa commercial goes, it's priceless, right? So we see that value takes on different shapes and different forms. So what he did is he gave you well over $6,000 in value while charging you $2,000. He gave you more in value or use value than what he took in payment, so you feel great, and he made an excellent profit. And that's the kind of relationship we want to have with anyone with whom we do business. We give them so much more in value than we take in payment that not only do both sides win big. And that's the essence of a free enterprise exchange, where both parties come away from the transaction better off than they were before. Now, there's one very key point about this, and that is, well, how do you get to that point where that trade happens? And that's really where the shift in focus comes from. It's from, again, taking your eyes off yourself and focusing on that other person through the value you can provide them. John David Mann and I say that money is an echo of value. It's the thunder to value's lightning. So when you focus on the value you're providing, that person feels it, they sense it, they come to understand why your product or service is worth more to them than the money they have now, and they willingly exchange it and feel great about it. On the other hand, when they can tell, when they can sense, and they always can, whether consciously or unconsciously, when they sense you care more about the money, when you're looking at them at their head as a big dollar sign, they're less likely to have that trust and to feel good about you and what you can do for them, and it's not going to be as likely to happen. So we always want to put that focus where it belongs, on the other person.